I'm Michael Schwartz with this guy who needs no introduction, six-time Pro Bowler, Kyle Williams. Welcome back to Western New York.
Thanks. Yeah, good to be back.
We were saying this is your first time back since really playing, right?
Pretty much, I did a couple of things my first year retired, but other than that, I've been out of pocket, and it's the first time back to a game for sure.
How does it feel to be back?
It's exciting, you have so many relationships, and you get back in town, and then you fall into your old like, oh, I'm supposed to make a right here. I mean, you just get used to everything comes back, and I think the biggest thing was like my kids, especially my older three who really grew up here. My daughter's referenced it as like being back home, so it's really good for all of us. Yeah.
So you are the legend of the game. We were saying, I think they saved you for a big playoff run. I mean, do you feel like you're going to bring the energy you've given in those pregame speeches? What can fans expect?
Well, I don't know about that. We've tried to work this out a couple of times, and for one reason or another, we couldn't make it work with my schedule or when they needed me to come up. And as far as that goes, I mean, we'll all be excited. I'll obviously be excited to be on the field and to kind of be back around it. But make no bones about it. Like, I'm not going to put my helmet on, and I'm not going to be required to make any plays. That'll be up to those guys, and I'm excited to watch them play and to be in the building for it.
My colleague Dom Tibbetts actually tweeted out yesterday when it was announced, and I quote, "When you ask the crowd where else would you rather be than right here, right now, it may cause an earth tremor because the place is going to be so loud." What do you think you can bring to that pregame crowd?
Well, I think just the excitement of the day, the wild card game, Broncos being in here, how well the team has played all year, how I think everybody's excited to see where they can go. And I think ultimately, let's cause an earthquake. I mean, it's not going to be because of me. It's because of the team that we all have this year. We've got an opportunity to enjoy, and hopefully we'll rattle the walls of that visiting locker room, and the Broncos to know what they're running into.
I like that. We, going through your pregame speeches, there's a few obviously that are memorable, but you had a young Deion Dawkins, a young Josh Allen, you had Micah Hyde, all locked in on your eyes and your words. From that moment to now, obviously Mike is back with the team, but Deion and Josh, you think about them then, and then you see them now, especially what Josh Allen's been doing. What has it been like to just sit back and watch?
Well, I think the pregame speeches they get a lot of runtime just because that's really everybody on the outside's only view of in the locker room, just those situations. And I know a lot of times like those cameras got snuck in on me because that was authentic moments between teammates and all that kind of stuff. But I think those guys, if you asked them, the real change or the real effect you have on people is what you do in there every single day, in the locker room, at practice, all those kinds of things. And, I'd like to think that had, more weight on them than a few words when everybody's riled up before the game. But those guys have taken this team to another level, and watching them as young players and knowing what Sean and Brandon were trying to build when we got started. It was one of those deals like you wish you were younger, but I was 35 at the end of my career, and I didn't have a whole lot left in me, and, couldn't hold on anymore. But it's really, really cool to see something come to fruition that you felt like you knew was happening, and got to be there at the start of it and knew what those guys as coaches and general manager and those guys as players are about.
You look at this team now, and there's something different in that locker room. And you even said in those pregame speeches, my biggest regret would be letting you guys down. It's really about the heart and really what goes on as the people, the heart. What do you see in this Bills team? I mean, there's a lot of talent, but there's a lot of great people in this team.
Well, I think you see a team, which is not always the case in professional sports. There's a lot of barriers to get by. There's personality, there's ego, there's contracts, there's business side. So there's a lot of things that can cause stumbling points to building great culture of a great football team, which ultimately is about each other. It's about, team. And I think that's what we're seeing. They're a really, really good team. They have great leadership on the team. Obviously, they have great leadership in the building with the coaching staff and the front office. So you're seeing the culmination of all of that come together, and that's why you're seeing all the success you have. You have a great opportunity to be successful when your best players are your highest character players and your hardest working guys. So like you see that with Josh and Dion and those guys that are there every single day, laying the foundation and the groundwork, like, hey, this is how we go about being successful, and everybody else falls in line with that.
Real quick, I know you got to go, but what would you say to the team now if you had to have a pregame speech?
I just need one more play. Like give me one play. Maybe we won't get double teamed and break every bone in my body, but I think I really don't have anything to add to them, because I do think that change and relationship is built like being with each other every day, so I can't go in there and hit them with a big rah-rah speech. A lot of them be like, who the hell is this guy? Like, they don't know who I am. But like, I would say that they look like what I envisioned like our teams becoming and want them to be when I was playing.